What positive change would you like to make in your life? Maybe you want to eat healthier. Maybe you want to read more books, or learn a new language, or master the clarinet. Whatever changes you'd like to make, actually making them and sticking to them is easier said than done. Just wanting to eat more salad doesn't actually mean you will. Simply saying you'll read more books doesn't mean you'll pick up War and Peace instead of binging Netflix. But that's where habits come in. Hi, I'm Amanda from Blinkist, and in these Blinks, I'm going to take you through the key ideas from James Clear's bestseller, Atomic Habits. Together, we're going to discover that the key to making big changes in your life doesn't have to involve major upheaval. You don't need to revolutionize your behavior or reinvent yourself. Rather, you can make tiny changes to your behavior, which, when repeated time and time again, will become habits that can lead to big results. So let's get started. To kick things off, I want you to imagine a plane preparing to take off from Los Angeles. The plane's destination is New York City. The pilot enters all the correct information into the plane's computer, and the plane takes off heading in the right direction. But now imagine that not long after takeoff, the pilot accidentally changes the direction the plane is flying in. He only changes it by 3.5 degrees, which is nearly nothing, just a few feet. The plane's nose shifts slightly to one side, and no one, not the pilot, not the passengers, notices anything. But over the journey across the United States, the impact of this slight change would be considerable. At the end of their journey, the confused passengers and even more confused pilot would find themselves landing in Washington, D.C., not New York City. So why am I telling you this? Well, it's because, just like the confused pilot, we don't notice tiny changes in our lives. I mean, small changes leave a negligible immediate impact. If you're out of shape today and go for a 20-minute jog, you'll still be out of shape tomorrow. If you eat a family-sized pizza for dinner, it won't make you overweight overnight. But if we repeat these small behaviors day after day, our choices compound into major results. Eat pizza every day, and it's likely you'll have gained considerable weight after a year. Go jogging for 20 minutes every day, and you'll eventually be leaner and fitter, even though you won't notice the change happening. You've probably worked out the main insight here. It's that small habits can have a surprisingly powerful impact on your life, and you won't necessarily see this impact happening in real time. You'll only see the results of your habits after a while. Now, we know that not seeing the impact of your efforts can be dispiriting. If this is happening to you, if you're feeling discouraged by the lack of immediate positive change, then it's important to try to focus on your current trajectory rather than your current results. Let's say you have a little money in the bank, but you are saving something each month. Your current results might not be that great. Your nest egg is still pretty small. But you can be confident that your trajectory is right. Keep going in this direction, and in a few months or a few years, you will notice a major improvement. When the lack of perceived progress gets you down, remember that you're doing the right things and that you're moving in the right direction. But how do you get yourself on the right trajectory? You need to develop habits. In the next Blink, we'll learn how they are built. When you walk into a dark room, you don't think about what to do next. You instinctively reach for a light switch. Reaching for a light switch is a habit. It's a behavior that you've repeated so many times that it now happens automatically. Habits like this dominate our lives, from brushing our teeth to driving our car. They're immensely powerful. But how are they formed? Well, in the 19th century, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike tried to answer this question. Apologies to the cat lovers out there, his experiments weren't very feline friendly. Okay, here's how he went about researching how habits are formed. First, he placed some cats inside a black box. Any cat owner will know how difficult this must have been. Then he timed how long it took them to escape. To start with, each cat behaved exactly as you'd expect when placed inside a box. It desperately looked for a way of escape. It sniffed and pawed at the corners, it clawed at the walls. Eventually, the cat would find a lever that, when pressed, would open a door, enabling it to escape. Thorndike then took the cats that successfully escaped and repeated the experiment. He placed them back inside the box. What did he find? After being put in the box a few times, each cat learned the trick. Rather than scrambling around for a minute or more, the cats went straight for the lever. After 20 or 30 attempts, the average and by now pretty fed-up cat would escape in just 6 seconds. In other words, we can say that the process of getting out of the box had become habitual for the cats. With his experiment, Thorndike had discovered something important. Behaviors that give satisfying consequences, in this case gaining freedom, tend to be repeated until they become automatic. We've learned a lot more about habits in the decades after Thorndike's experiment. We now know that habits actually are made up of 4 distinct elements. First, there's the cue, or a trigger to act. Walking into a dark room cues you to perform an action that will allow you to see. Then comes a craving for a change in state, in this case, from darkness to light. Then comes a response or action, flicking the light switch. The final step in the process, and the end goal of every habit, is the reward. In this case, it's the feeling of mild relief and comfort that comes from being able to see your surroundings. Every habit follows the same process. Do you drink coffee every morning? Waking up is your cue, triggering a craving to feel alert. Your response is to drag yourself out of bed and make a cup of joe. Your reward is feeling wide awake and ready to face the world. Okay, now that you have an idea of how habits work, let's look at how you can develop good habits that can change your life for the better.